He runs. Not the kind of running that wins races, the kind that tears lungs apart, that burns through the chest like fire, that makes every breath feel stolen. Branches slash his face as he crashes through the forest, his shoes slipping on wet earth, panic louder than the storm above him. "Please!" His voice cracks into the darkness, swallowed by thunder. "Please, I didn't mean—" A sound behind him. Not loud, not rushed, measured, steady, getting closer. He dares a glance back, and that's when his foot catches a root. His body slams hard into the ground, air exploding from his lungs. He tries to crawl, fingers digging into mud, dragging himself forward like a broken animal. No, no, no! The footsteps stop right behind him. Silence. Then a shadow stretches over his trembling body. A woman steps into view. Not rushed, not angry, not even breathing hard. Calm, cold, unstoppable. He turns slowly, eyes wide with horror, as recognition hits him like a bullet. "You!" Her face is scarred, not enough to hide her beauty, but enough to tell a story. Her eyes hold no hesitation, no mercy, just a quiet, terrifying certainty. "You should have made sure I was dead," she says softly. Lightning flashes, and then, cut to black. A voice, steady and gripping, pulls the viewer in deeper. She wasn't always like this. There was a time she laughed easily, a time she trusted people, a time she believed loyalty meant something. Her name was Amara, and before the night they tried to kill her, she would have died for them. The story rewinds, easing into a different world. The chaos fades into warmth. The sound of laughter replaces the storm. Amara sits at a table with them, 5 people bound by what looks like loyalty, by shared struggle, by dreams that felt just within reach. Drinks clink, jokes fly, and she leans back in her chair, smiling in a way that feels real, untouched by darkness. "You're too trusting," Kola says, shaking his head with a half smile. "And you're too paranoid," she fires back, laughing. "Paranoia keeps you alive." "Or alone," she replies. The others laugh. Tunde raises his glass. "To not being alone." "To not being alone," they echo. It feels genuine. That's what makes it dangerous. The narrator's tone tightens slightly, slipping a thread of tension into the warmth. Because sometimes, betrayal doesn't come from enemies. It comes from the people who know exactly where to cut. Amara walks home later that night, her phone buzzing. It's Zara. "Tomorrow, don't forget," Zara says on the other end. "I won't," Amara replies. "You still haven't told me everything, though." "You'll see," Zara says, her voice light, but something about it lingers. "Just trust me." Amara smiles. "I do." A pause.
Zara.
Another strike. This one drops her. The world tilts. Voices blur.
"You have to finish it."
"I can't."
"Do it!"
A loud crack echoes, then silence. Her body lies still, blood pooling beneath her. Tunde steps closer, nudging her with his foot. "She's gone." Zara doesn't move for a moment. Then she nods. "It's done." They leave, just like that. No looking back, no second thoughts. The sound of their footsteps fades, until there's nothing left but wind. And her body. Still. Broken. Forgotten. Seconds pass. Then minutes. The camera lingers just long enough for doubt to creep in. And then, a twitch. Barely noticeable. A finger moves. A breath. Ragged, shallow, but real. She's alive. The narration slows, pulling tension tight. Not saved, not rescued, just not dead. And sometimes, that's worse. Amara's eyes flicker open, unfocused, filled with pain that doesn't fully register yet. She tries to move, and a wave of agony crashes through her body. A broken sound escapes her lips. She doesn't understand, not fully. Only one thing makes sense. They left her. They left her to die. The realization doesn't come as anger first. It comes as emptiness, a hollow silence inside her. She drags herself forward, inch by inch, fingers clawing at dirt, every movement a fight against the darkness pulling her under. "Move," she whispers to herself. "Move." The forest doesn't care. The sky doesn't care. No one is coming. And that's when something changes. Not hope, not strength, something colder. If she dies here, they win. That thought anchors her. And for the first time since she woke up, she refuses. Her body screams, but she keeps moving. Every inch forward feels impossible, but she does it anyway. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. Time loses meaning when survival becomes the only goal. She collapses again, breathing uneven, eyes half closed. "I won't die here," she murmurs. Not for them. Not like this. The screen fades slightly as her consciousness slips in and out. Then, distant sound. Footsteps. Not theirs. Different. Uncertain. A shadow appears above her. "Hey! Hey! Can you hear me?" Her eyes struggle to open. A stranger. A voice she doesn't recognize. "Stay with me!" Darkness swallows her again. And just before everything fades, the first thing she asks for is a pen. The man hesitates before handing it over, watching her closely, as if trying to understand what survived and what didn't. Amara sits up slowly, every movement deliberate, every breath controlled, like she's learning how to exist again. "Paper," she says. He gives it to her. No questions this time. She stares at the blank page for a long moment, her fingers tightening slightly around the pen. Not shaking, not weak, just steady. Then she writes the first name. Tunde. The ink presses deep into the paper, almost tearing it. She pauses, eyes locked on it, and something flickers behind them. Not rage, not grief. Calculation. The second name follows. Zara. Then Kola. Then the others. 5 names. 5 decisions. 5 people who walked away thinking the story ended with her body in the dirt. She leans back slightly, studying the list like it's already complete. "They think I'm dead," she says quietly. The man folds his arms. "Then maybe stay that way." A small silence settles between them. Then she looks at him, and there's something unsettling about how calm she is. "If I stay dead," she says, "they live." He exhales slowly. "And if you don't?" Her answer is immediate. "They don't." No hesitation, no emotion, just truth. He studies her for a moment longer, then shakes his head slightly. "Whatever you're thinking, it won't fix what they did." She looks back at the list. "I'm not trying to fix it." A beat. "I'm finishing it." The room goes quiet again. And that's the moment he realizes this isn't someone recovering. This is someone rebuilding into something else. Days turn into weeks, but Amara doesn't rush. That's the difference now. Before, she trusted, she reacted, she believed in people. Now, she studies, she listens, she learns. The man who saved her becomes less of a stranger and more of a silent witness. He watches her move differently each day, stronger, sharper, quieter. "You're healing fast," he says one morning. "I don't have time to be slow," she replies. He notices the way she trains her body even when it hurts, the way she maps out movements in her head, the way she asks questions, not random ones, but specific ones. "How far is the city from here?" 3 hours. "Who passes through this road?" "Mostly traders, sometimes people who don't want to be seen." She nods, storing everything. Every detail matters now, because she's not just going back. She's going back prepared. One evening, she sits across from him again, the list in her hand. "Tell me something," she says. He looks up. What's the one mistake people make when they think they got away with something? He thinks for a moment. They relax. She nods. Exactly. And somewhere far away from that quiet room, they already have. The story shifts. Tunde laughs, loud, carefree, like nothing ever happened. Music plays in the background as he leans back in his chair, a drink in his hand. The tension that once lived in his shoulders is gone. "See?" he says. "I told you it would blow over." Kola doesn't look as convinced. "It hasn't even been that long." "It's been long enough," Tunde replies. "No body, no witnesses, nothing connects back to us." Zara sits quietly, her fingers tapping lightly against the table. "What?" Tunde asks, noticing her silence. She shrugs. "Nothing." "You've been like that all night." "I said I'm fine." But she's not. And deep down she knows it. Because some things don't go away just because you bury them. But Tunde doesn't care. "Relax," he says again. "It's over." And that's the exact moment everything starts to fall apart. Because somewhere in the dark, it's just beginning. Amara watches from a distance, not close enough to be seen, but close enough to understand. She doesn't rush toward them. She studies first. Patterns, habits, weaknesses. Tunde is exactly who he's always been. Loud, careless, predictable. Kola watches too much, thinks too much. Zara is different. She's the only one who still looks over her shoulder, the only one who hasn't fully convinced herself that Amara is gone. Good. That fear will grow, and Amara plans to feed it. She whispers softly to herself, almost like a reminder. One by one. The first move is quiet. No confrontation, no announcement, just presence. Tunde leaves the bar late that night, still laughing to himself as he steps into the empty street. The city feels normal, safe, until something shifts. A sound behind him, soft, familiar. He stops, turns. Nothing. He scoffs, shaking his head. "You're imagining things." But as he turns back around, there it is again. A shadow moving just out of reach. His smile fades slightly. "Hello?" he calls out. No response, just silence. Then, a whisper. "You run funny." His blood runs cold. He spins around, heart racing. "Who's there?" And then he sees her. Not fully, just enough. Standing under a flickering light. Still, watching. "No," he breathes, stumbling back. "That's not possible." She steps forward slightly, her face coming into view. And there's no doubt anymore. "You're dead," he says, panic rising. She tilts her head slightly. "You didn't check." He turns to run, but this time there's no forest, no escape, no distance. Just fear. Pure and immediate. What happens next isn't loud. It isn't chaotic. It's controlled. Precise. And when it's over, Tunde is gone. The next morning, the city wakes up like it always does. But something is different, because one of them didn't make it back. Kola hears the news first. "Missing?" he repeats, his voice tight. Zara looks up sharply. "What do you mean, missing?" "They can't find him." A heavy silence falls between them. "No," Zara whispers, shaking her head slightly. "No, that doesn't make sense." Kola's jaw tightens. "Unless..." He doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't have to, because they're both thinking the same thing, and neither of them wants to say it out loud. Zara stands abruptly. "We need to stick together." Kola nods immediately. For the first time since that night, fear is back. Real fear. And somewhere nearby, Amara watches it spread. Exactly as planned. If you're still watching at this point, drop a comment right now. Do you think they deserve what's coming, or should she walk away? And don't forget to like the video, because the next part is where things get even more intense. Cola doesn't wait long before trying to take control.
We need to think, he says, pacing. If it's really her…
It is, Zara cuts in.
You don't know that.
I do, she says, her voice sharper now. I felt it the moment he said Tunde was missing.
Cola stops pacing. You're saying she survived all that? And came back for us?
Zara meets his eyes. Yes. The word hangs in the air like a verdict. Cola exhales slowly, running a hand through his hair.
Then we need to find her before she finds us.
Zara lets out a quiet, almost bitter laugh. You still don't get it, do you?
What?
She already found us. The realization hits him hard. Because she's right. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. This is deliberate. And they're already inside it. The next move comes faster, because fear makes people predictable. Cola doesn't sleep that night. He checks every lock, every window, every shadow. And still, it doesn't feel like enough.
You're losing it,
he mutters to himself. But deep down, he knows he's not. Because something is watching, waiting, learning. And then, the lights go out. Darkness floods the room instantly. Cola freezes. His breathing slows. Listens. Nothing. Then, a soft sound behind him. Too close. He spins around, and this time, there's no distance at all. Just her. Standing right there. Silent. Unmoving. His voice trembles.
Amara.
She doesn't respond immediately. Just studies him. You were always the smartest, she says finally.
Listen,
he starts, his hands slightly raised.
We can talk about this.
Talk? She repeats softly. A faint, almost amused expression crosses her face. You talked when you decided I should die? His mouth opens, but no words come out. Because there's nothing he can say. Nothing that fixes this.
I didn't want it to happen like that,
he says weakly. But you let it, she replies. A pause. Heavy. Final. And that was enough. The room feels smaller now. Tighter. Like there's no space left for anything except consequences. Cola's voice breaks slightly.
What do you want from me?
Her answer is simple. The same thing you wanted from me. Understanding dawns too late, because this was never about revenge alone. It was about balance. And now, the scale is tipping. The next morning, Zara is alone. Completely alone. And for the first time, she doesn't try to deny it. She sits in silence, the weight of everything pressing down on her. One by one, exactly like this. She whispers to herself, I knew this would happen. A soft sound interrupts her. She looks up slowly. Not surprised, not shocked, just tired. Amara stands in the doorway. Zara exhales. I was wondering when you'd come. No fear. Not like the others. Just acceptance. Amara steps inside. You're not running, she observes. Zara shakes her head. There's no point. A small silence passes between them. Then Zara speaks again. You survived, she says. Yes. Zara nods slowly. I figured. Another pause. Then, I'm sorry. The words land, but they don't change anything. Amara's expression doesn't shift. Why? Zara asks quietly.
Why what?
Why come back like this? Amara looks at her for a long moment, then finally answers. Because you left me like that. Zara closes her eyes briefly, accepting it, understanding it, and knowing this is where it ends. If this story kept you hooked till the very end, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. Would you have done the same if you were in her place? Because some stories don't end with forgiveness. Some stories end with consequences. And this one? It ended exactly the way it was meant to. She was left for dead. But what came back was something they never saw coming.